Interesting.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi, everybody. I didn't see you there. I was just reading Archie Meets Kiss and thinking about how we decided that here at the Quarantine Panels, we are not going to stop doing spooky season stuff just because the calendar tells us to. Ridiculous. My name is Joe Crowe. I am one of your co-directors with Mr. Gary Mitchell, and tonight we are talking about one of our Halloween, really, it's one of our favorites all year round, and we brought a plethora, a gaggle, if you will, of a coven, if you will, of Hocus Pocus experts to talk about the movie Hocus Pocus. And here they are. Let's bring them on in. Right there. One internet to my left. Toni Ann, who are you? How are you?
Hi. I also, instead of a black cat, I brought a black dog with me to the panel. This is Professor Zoom, who watched Hocus Pocus for the first time in his life last night, and he enjoyed it very much. Sure. Especially when the cat was on TV. He's a big fan of Thackeray Binks.
Well,
but I am...
Who doesn't love Thackeray?
I know, right? I am Toni Ann, computer science professor by day and blogger about Star Trek by night.
Woo-woo.
And one internet west to the left of Toni Ann, Denise.
Hi. I'm Denise. I am high-powered secretary by day and art person by night. Normally I would say you can find me on Instagram, but everything is kind of taking a hiatus at the moment, just because I'm in the middle of rearranging everything. There's a lot. It's a lot. I do not have a black dog, but I have two kitties who are giving me the cold shoulder because I don't know what.
Because they're cats.
Yeah, I don't know what I did, but I did something. So there we go.
You're not supposed to know. It's cats.
Right.
One internet south of Denise, Elizabeth.
Hi. I do have a black cat with me. Hex is right here, as always. I actually did a thing. I actually got a Twitter, so I'll have to give you that to guys later because I'm having.
Oh, the internet ghost is now landed on Twitter. That's nice.
Ironically enough, the name is the Ghost of Internet Past.
Diagonally from me, welcome.
Hi, I'm Allison, but today I am Boris Karloff Jr. And this is Binks.
Yay, Binks!
This is his actual name is Binks.
Oh my God, hi Binks.
Love it. So
he is not wanting to be up in my arms right now.
Of course not.
Yes, he is my fat, contented, useless house cat.
Nice.
And one internet further south of me, my co-director, my arch nemesis,
frenemy,
Gary Mitchell, how are you, sir?
I am not watching the Eternals.
For
this.
Good choice.
For this?
Yes.
Excellent choice.
Excellent choice. We love you, Gary.
Oh, I love you too.
Yeah.
And I have actually been to Salem this year, actually. Jessa and I went for Memorial Day.
Ooh,
it was a lovely little trip.
Tell us about that briefly.
Well, it was cold.
Okay.
No, but it was very lovely. It was very historic. Everybody was wearing masks, thankfully. They had all the little touristy bus thing, trolley things you could ride, which took you all around Salem. Ooh. And we actually got to see some of the sites in the movie.
Oh, fun!
Mm-hmm. You did not, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Hocus Pocus, this is a thing. How did it become a thing? What the heck? The movie came out 28 years ago. Did anyone see it then?
I did.
Okay. In the theater? Was that?
Yes.
Okay.
The theater.
The theater. because I guess I knew it existed, but I didn't watch it for the first time until it was on the ABC Family Channel's 31 Nights of Halloween when they played it
on about 20 of those nights.
Times. Yeah.
20 of the nights, yeah.
So since that time, I have memorized it, and now, it's great. Tell everybody what's your favorite part of this movie, Hocus Pocus, Toni Ann? What drew you into this movie?
What drew me in was that it had to do with Halloween, because I have always been a big fan of spooky season and all things Halloween. But in rewatching it, the pure delight of Sarah Jessica Parker is just, she's having so much fun, like, ooh, a spider, and like just everything, and she does it with such conviction and such and it's just so wonderful to see, like, almost this childlike joy when she's playing this part, and every scene she's in, I'm just laughing hysterically at it.
She commits. She does.
She does.
That's the thing. This movie isn't. You don't think of Bette Midler and Kathy Najimy and Sarah Jessica Parker as comedy legends,
right? Well, Bette.
They've all
Bette
Midler, yeah.
But they've all done funny things, but it's not like you're like, oh, hot dang, I bet whatever Kathy Najimy's doing is going to be hilarious. But because outside of this and Sister Act, I'm sure there's 12 other things that I can't think of off the top of my head that she's been in. Anyway, it's not like the combination doesn't say Laugh Riot.
Right.
Can't wait to watch it. But we, like probably a lot of you, we were looking for Halloween-y stuff to watch with our then slightly younger child. And now it's a tradition. Every year we have to watch it. My daughter Quinn is off at college. She got her dorm room and her entire floor to watch it together one night.
I love that. That's
Nice.
a college experience right there.
Perfect.
Right.
So, Denise.
It's a good college movie.
It is. So, funnily enough, Hocus Pocus is actually just part of my I will watch this whenever I want to movie set.
Yep.
My Halloween lineup consists of Friday the 13th, parts 1 and 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2, and Halloween parts 1 and 2. So that's my Halloween lineup. I don't know why, but it's like Die Hard and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Those are what you watch on that night. But Hocus Pocus for me, I think maybe because I came into it in the summer. I don't know. I was overseas when this movie actually hit theaters. I was overseas. So I don't really remember when I watched it, but I remember just it came on. It might have been the 31 Days of Halloween, but it came on, and the minute I think it was I think it was Salem. It might have been the fact that it was in Salem. I don't really know, but the minute it came on, I was hooked. And then when Kathy Najimy came, and the part where the black flame candle is lit, and they come back, and Kathy Najimy sits there and says, "We're young." I was just like, "Yep, nope, that's it. This is my movie. I'm good." And then of course Bette Midler singing "I Put a Spell on You."
Oh my gosh.
That did it for me. I love her rendition of that. Like, I'll break out into song, but her version of the song. So that's me with this movie. I love this movie.
Elizabeth.
How did I see the movie? Is that what you're asking?
Or
my favorite
I
part?
think I forgot the question like 30 minutes ago, but
Well, my favorite part is actually Bette getting her inner Gypsy Rose Lee on when she does "I Put a Spell on You," because her line, "Hi Salem, my name's Winifred. What's yours?" is actually almost a direct copy of Rose's line from Rose's Turn in Gypsy, the musical.
okay.
Which is ironic because Bette would win the Emmy for her television performance of Mama Rose the same year as Hocus Pocus.
Oh, the same year. Well, that's cool.
1992. I actually saw Hocus Pocus in the theater because me and my little bestie were both little goth girls into everything witchy.
Goth
and
girls for
so
life.
we got my mom to take us because neither one of us could drive yet. And the minute I saw Bette do that number, I was like, this movie is awesome. I just love it. And plus Salem at Halloween time, even though I think they were technically filming in Marblehead, Salem at Halloween time is just, it looks like Halloween.
It does.
Yeah, we got to go. That's goals right there.
Yeah, right? I'm for real right
It's
now.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, apparently, like Salem does this whole Halloween thing. Like
Oh.
they break it out.
Oh,
for
it's
Halloween.
so cool.
Yeah, apparently it's the coolest thing. All the covens get together. It's like some kind of wicked pool party. So
Nice.
Wicked pool party.
I'm just saying, I make puns like that. I think I'm funny.
You
was
would be
good.
right.
Yeah, we'll let you know, Denise. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
So, Boris Jr.,
Mhm.
your experience with Hocus Pocus.
Let's see. So I watched this TV show called Erie, Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
I
and I
remember
had
that
this
show.
amazing crush on Omri Katz. So that is how I got into watching it. Then I fell in love with the music and the humor in the show. It was also at that point that I swore to myself at one point in my life I would own a black cat named Banks. And finally I do, who has actually left the room now.
Of course.
He
I'm
got
done
his
with you
treats
people.
for appearing on camera and then he left the room.
Texas still here.
But no, while I love the the Spell on You, I actually, my song from there is the Come Little Children. I originally memorized that. I could actually mimic Sarah Jessica Parker back when I didn't have like such a scratchy voice to be able to sing that song. And I would always just like walk around humming it all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's oh wow. And we can talk about we will talk about the soundtrack to this thing. Gary, your experience with Hocus Pocus.
I was working in a movie theater at the time, so I was primed to pretty much see everything that came out, and
Nice.
I was a huge Bette Midler fan.
Yes,
So
as you should be.
So I was like, well,
She's
you
amazing.
had me. Yeah. So you had me at Bette Midler, and it is just such a fun. It's the right level of spooky for it's your training wheels horror movie.
Yeah.
It's a perfect little horror movie for for your 8 to 10-year-olds who are wanting to get into the spooky stuff. It's a great Halloween gateway drug. And I just fell in love with it. The performances, the three main witches are they're such a perfect trio. And I could just die laughing watching Kathleen Jimi's face the whole movie.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
She has
gosh.
the best expressions.
Did you know she was not the first choice?
Really?
Really?
No, she was not. They wanted Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh.
Oh, I don't think it would have
God.
worked with Rosie.
That would have made
But
a
she
much
said-
different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
would
I
have.
don't think it would have the same, cult following as it does here.
I don't
Having
think
seen
so.
Exit to Eden, yes, it would have been an entirely.
Well, she
Yeah.
said she didn't want to do it because she didn't want to put that kind of risk on her career.
Well, yeah,
Good job,
not for
Rosie
that.
O'Donnell.
But yeah, I mean, and so it was just I went in, I went expecting to enjoy it, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and it's a regular, it's regularly in the rotation, and it doesn't have to be Halloween, but
No.
Mm-mm. You want
It's
a dose of spooky season? You watch Hocus Pocus.
Well, and it's also it's an adventure, right? There's a problem that they have to solve. Yes, they're the ones who caused the problem, but they have to, and it just so happens to be at Halloween. But you really can, sort of watch it whenever.
yeah, and
my
it's
brother's
definitely
a virgin.
yeah,
The dumb
and
version that lit the candle.
yeah, and it's a definite throwback to the family kids adventures movies that Disney did all through the 60s and the 70s.
Yes, it is.
really is.
And those were the fun ones. I mean, they didn't have to be all deep and heavy and all that crap.
No.
Grimdark.
Yeah, no
Right.
9 and 10-year-old wants that. We really just want Bette Midler going like this, saying, "Thank you, Max." Well,
Yeah.
that's
You know,
What
and
a
the
marvelous introduction.
yeah, again, and it just
I love her.
and they have just that right level of menace that your young kid's going to be ooh, and then but as an adult, you're going ha, 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 eat them, eat the children.
right?
Yes,
Because
especially
what do
after
you
work.
want to do? Yeah, what do
Yeah,
you want
and
to do?
I also
with
want to
your
make
kid?
sure we give all the love to Doug Jones as Billy,
Yes.
because
Oh,
this is the
yeah.
first place I saw him, and when
Oh,
who's
poor
this?
Billy.
Yeah,
Poor Billy.
I didn't know
but the way he moves,
Right?
everything
random
about Doug
fact?
Jones is great
Mm-hmm.
in everything, but I didn't know he was Doug Jones. I knew who Doug Jones was, and then I went back. Then I saw this movie, like, oh, that's Doug Jones.
Right? Oh, yeah. That's
Oh,
him.
he's that guy, because he's great in this, and he just possesses whatever it is he does. You still see Doug Jones, even if he's caked in makeup, and yet each thing he does has an individual style, and he's just playing a goofy zombie in this thing, and he's tremendous.
And he spends most of the movie not having any lines, so he
Mhm.
has to really use his physicality, and he has to use that physical humor and stuff. And you see it when his fingers get chopped off or when he loses his head, and then he grabs the knife and he rips it open, and the first words out of his mouth are just wonderful, because he's been dying
For
Like,
years.
literally.
Literally centuries.
for centuries to say that, and you could tell by his body language how good it felt to get that out. And it's hard to do that.
So I have to tell you guys, Jason Marsden is the nicest guy ever.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah.
So I met him at Magic City Con, which is the Birmingham Comic Con down here in Birmingham. That's where Joe and I finally met in real life. Yay! Hi, Joe. So I went because I have a buddy of mine. He does art at conventions, and it's the only time we ever get to sit and talk to each other. But Jason Marsden happened to be there, standing right next to the guy who plays Fievel from Fievel Goes West and Fievel and American Tail. And dinner, 9-year-old me absolutely lost her friggin' mind. I went up to Jason Marsden. I was like, "Oh my God, you're Thackeray Binks." Bless him, he was the nicest person about
I love it.
Well, you weren't going all Spike on him, so
Yeah, well, and it was so funny because what was it? He's like, "Yeah, I have no idea why they had me do the voice of Thackeray. I can't do an English accent to save my life." I said, "Yeah, but you were good enough for American audiences, and that's all that matters."
I have that
Because
answer.
They already had a different actor cast for the physical form of him. It's like, why did you cast somebody else?
I have that answer.
What's
Go for
that?
it.
Why?
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Okay, they cast two different actors because they liked the look of I cannot remember his name, who actually played him as a human, but they felt that
McGee
his voice was-
NCIS.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
gonna say
exactly.
Murray.
It's Sean Murray.
Yes.
Sean Murray. They
thank
felt that
you.
Sean Murray's voice was too contemporary for Banks, and they wanted something that would sound closer to the witches.
So they
That's
got
what
Max
they
Goof instead.
Yeah,
So
went
they
with
wanted
Max Goofy.
it sounded a little more contemporary, like he would belong in their time period. Morrison apparently, the other guy apparently sounded too contemporary.
That's too funny. Well, anyway, Jason Marsden is the nicest person ever, and he's totally a drummer. He's absolutely a drummer.
Love it.
Ridiculous.
I did come up with a drinking game last night. If whenever Thackeray says Emily, you should take a shot, and then you could just be drunk for the rest of the movie, because he says it like 20 times in the first 5 minutes.
And then you get that final shot right at the end.
Yes, yeah, and then you get to be like, "Oh, okay, I'm good now. I could get through the movie." And then he says it like a couple times when he's showing the kids, in the graveyard, and my sister Emily. And then at the end, you're like, "Okay," but yeah, it's so many times is Emily mentioned.
Mm-hmm. You would think he loved his sister or something. It's ridiculous.
That was my concern at first when I'm watching the movie and he's borderline verbally abusive to the child. At first. And I thought, is this going to be one of those?
Right.
One of those 80s movies where all the children hate each other? And it turned away. It turned away from that, thankfully, pretty quickly. But that would have been a thumbs down part. That would have been a con, in my opinion, of the movie had they kept up with that. But it turns out, no, his sister's pretty cool. And they like each other. It's weird. But
Right.
so, Gary, Hocus Pocus. Oh, you already said something. All right. So, what, since Hocus Pocus.
Well, I want to give a shout out to K-Rad COVID Readings, who wants to turn Training Wheels Horror as the name of his next band.
Nice.
Yep, right there.
Hi, Keith.
Hi, Kay.
I love it. So, what about what's your favorite? We touched on a couple of these. The songs on the soundtrack. What's your favorite performance in the movie? Toni Ann. Don't think about it. Go.
I know it's not really a song, but I love when they come out of the kiln and she's speaking French and English and she's like, I want my book. And then she says it in French, like, because that's what they were listening to into the... It's just the way she says it. She's obviously clearly annoyed that she was just, incinerated and then brought back. It's just so perfect. And then after that, they go and she's like, do you have your learner's permit, dude? Like, she wouldn't even know what a learner's permit is, but it just lands so good. And she said that whole like little scene is just, it's just wonderful. It's so well acted. And I really wanted to see them like trash the boombox, though it was probably incinerated, so they didn't need to. But just something about thinking that that's what they're listening to in their last minutes is like a how to speak French.
The Pimsleur approach to speaking French.
it kills me. It was so good, so perfect.
Oh God, I love that part.
So let's go to Gary. Your favorite musical part.
I'm going to be, basic bitch and Spell on You. I mean, it's just such a great number. They get the crowd involved. It's Bet.
Yeah, it's up until that point, she's done the cool witch stuff. But then she becomes Bette Midler again. Mm-hmm. And times 1,000. She's like extreme Bette Midler, and it doesn't, a lot of times in movies where you have, like, for example, a musician in a dramatic story, of course they're going to sing at some point. This doesn't happen with Bette Midler. She's hilarious as the witch. The song adds to the movie instead of taking away from it, and it's a bonkers, crazy performance.
There's a reason we have it in the sing-along every year.
Yeah. I think this movie would be a terrific watch-along flick like Rocky Horror would be.
Yes.
Or Rocky Horror is, I should say. But there's so much good stuff going on the soundtrack in this. Allie, soundtrack. What's your favorite part?
Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of magic.
Oh,
yay!
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
I am terrified right now.
I have this sudden urge to get out of my seat and
right and
come
go
to Nashville. We have Jason Marsden.
Now dance till you die.
Yes,
die.
Thank you for that. That's excellent.
Oh, that was great.
And Elizabeth.
I like how well everything flows together, considering that they had to change music directors halfway through, and the new guy only had 2 weeks to write the whole score.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Originally it was Horner, James Horner, and he was around long enough to write Sarah's song and a few other pieces like Max and Danny, I think it was. And then for some reason he had to go, and so John Debney, I think. Yeah, John Debney had to step in at the last minute and write everything in 2 weeks without seeing the movie.
Wow.
Without
Just
seeing
2
the
weeks.
movie.
Dang.
Because normally, they see it when they can score it, but he had to score the whole thing in 2 weeks. And if you listen to the movie, you can't tell. And so that's why the background music is actually my favorite. There's some beautiful motifs in there. Like there's one for Danny and Max that's really pretty. There's one for Allison that's really pretty. And it all came together seamlessly despite all the chaos.
Ooh. Man, she get an award.
Oh, there was crazy stuff with this movie going on.
We'll let you clue us in on some more of that stuff shortly. Elizabeth, Denise, your favorite musical thing?
So I'm with Gary. I mean, and like I said, when I was a kid, Bette Midler standing there singing "I Put a Spell on You." It's just, I mean, it's amazing, and it's one of those songs that if you know how to work it, you can use that for anything. I mean, obviously, there's a certain meaning to the song and stuff like that. But if you get, because I recently saw a drag show, which was super fun, and
Nice.
Always.
well, the theater child in me was incredibly disappointed, but I'm a theater child. And one of the girls, they used "I Put a Spell on You," and they dressed up like Bette Midler. And here I am, like all excited and thinking I'm just going to get this amazing experience, and they're going to know how to work the crowd, and they're going to know how to work up the song. I did not. I was very sad. And it's the kind of song that demands you be loud as the song is, as boisterous. It demands that you play into it, and Bette Midler just does that so well. In a way, she does use the song as a weapon to throw a spell on everybody, and it's just fantastic, the subtlety with which it's used, because it's a giant performance, and it's my favorite thing ever. Elizabeth,
tell us more clearly. I thank you for coming. I appreciate that you know lots of the backstage tidbits. What's some good backstage stuff, some good inside baseball stuff that you've mentioned a couple things. Hit us with a few more of those.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the book I got it from. It's an excellent book if you're a Hocus Pocus fan. It's called Hocus Pocus and Focus. And if you're of a more scholarly nature, it analyzes it from an intertextual kind of way, and does various themes and talks about it in a scholarly style that's not dry and boring. It's actually very interesting. And it has a lovely introduction by Thora Birch. Which is really nice. But so this...
Tell us again, and in the show notes, I'll put a link to that book so people can get it. You said if you're a Hocus Pocus fan. If you're not a Hocus Pocus fan, get it anyway.
It's good.
Look.
One of us. Become
one of us. It talks about a lot of interesting things. It really is. This movie could have been a whole different movie because originally attached to direct was Steven Spielberg. And he bailed out. No one really knows why, but the rumor is that he bailed out because Amblin fell out with Disney over Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh.
That's the rumor. So he bailed out, and then Kenny Ortega came in. The role of Max was originally offered to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Interesting.
Who turned it down to play in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Boo.
Good call.
Boo.
I'm okay with that.
He actually did really good in Gilbert Grape. So.
Yeah, that's a good movie, but it's definitely more artsy
won an
movie.
award for that.
Yeah, that's the movie that put him on the map.
Yeah.
So as I said before, James Horner was originally the composer, but he had to back out last second. Again, the speculation is that he was really tight with Spielberg and he left with Spielberg. So John Debney came in, and John Debney, if you're a 90s sci-fi nerd, is the one who scored Sequest and a couple other productions.
Sequest.
I just heard Deanna pop somewhere.
I know, like, where's Deanna? And so he had 2 weeks to do it, and he did it. That's really all the inside baseball I have on that, but there's a couple other cute stories that are production-wise, like Thora Birch mentions that she and Bette actually got stuck in the harnesses during a flying sequence. And she was so scared, and Bette Midler started singing Wind Beneath My Wings to her to calm her down.
What? So nice.
Yes!
Oh,
yes! I know, right?
That's
and
so
she
would have
also
been
says
like,
that
leave me up here.
I'm good. And she has nothing but nice things to say about everybody on set in that foreword. It's an adorable foreword.
I'm gonna get this.
Going down the rabbit hole on that note, in going down the rabbit hole as you do, as we all do, looking into this movie, when you see how the kids and the other cast members still hang out,
They do.
I love that. I love that about lots of things, lots of movies and TV shows. But the kids are all still like that. They go on Instagram and take pictures together, like they have a yearly dinner.
Oh, that's so nice.
And that is the best.
One of the few decent points of the pandemic last year was the In Search of the Sanderson Sisters special that they did.
Yeah,
that aired on my birthday.
Yes.
Aw.
I forgot all about that. Gary, tell us about that.
Basically, it was a little 1 hour special, basically kind of a celebration of Hocus Pocus. There was a storyline, but it was mainly just an excuse for all these celebrities to get together and, do little bits.
And a lot of good
I love that's one of the coolest things. Like you said, Gary, about it's only clever geniuses come up with the idea of doing online panels during the quarantine.
Mhm.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
That's right.
But if I remember correctly, like had Billy Crystal, Jamie Lee Curtis was in it,
Perfect.
Keenan
bunch of them
Thompson,
Bunch of
and
them were.
Stamos, I think, was the devil.
Stamos.
Yes.
Yeah, and at the end of it, she gets her, Winifred gets her powers back from the devil. They were waning, and it was a cute little thing. You purchased it for I think it was like $15. It was not expensive, and all the money went to the New York Restoration Project.
That's cool. That maybe that's still out there, and you can still donate and get to see this thing. I'll also look that up and link to that. Outside of the Three Witches, and we've mentioned Omri Katz and we've mentioned Jason Marsden, performance-wise. Outside of the Three Witches, what's your favorite? I'm gonna jump in the front of the line and say my favorites are Gary and Penny Marshall.
Yes.
Yes.
Because out of nowhere, Laverne and Gary Marshall are in this movie, and they are tremendous.
And Ralph the dog.
Yes.
Their dog Ralph.
Ralph.
And she sick him like that just whole thing. She just so good.
Oh, the one thing I remember of their scene though is like that commercial where Kathy and Jimmy is eating the cheese puffs and you have the baby take off running. I remember when that commercial originally aired.
Yes, me too.
And I found it so amusing. And then to see it reappear in a movie to be immortalized forever was just awesome.
Tremendous. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I mean, Gary Marshall he's usually a behind the scenes guy, but when this is one of my favorite things that he did in front of the camera, and he's just a hoot. There's no reason for him and Laverne to be in this movie, and yet
There they are.
And they have just such wonderful on-screen chemistry, where he's like, she called me master, and well, take a look at what I'm going to call you in a few minutes. And like, just the banter between them.
The master in such a tone.
So, Allie, your favorite besides the Three Witches?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I'm also going to exclude Omri Katz because that was a big crush. I have to love the parents, especially the mom dressed as Madonna at the scene, and she's just like this, and then catches her daughter like this, and Danny's like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And she's like, "Madonna." Well, and she's like pointing to the cups, and I'm like, no kids these days would probably recognize that costume, but that was perfect for that day and age.
Oh yeah. Elizabeth.
Small but memorable for me, the bus driver.
Oh,
The bus driver, how he's so thirsty, and Sarah's on his lap driving the bus, and beep beep. Just a great segment with all of him, and he really sold it. It was hilarious. I'm laughing the whole time he's on there.
World's most inappropriate bus driver.
Right.
Yup. Mm-hmm.
that was for the adults in the room.
That was, yes.
Oh, there's a lot in here for adults if you're looking for it.
There is a surprising amount. Like the thing about the Virgin lighting a candle. That's one of my favorite things.
The
Gary,
flame candle.
outside of the Three Witches.
Well, the parents were going to be my answer, but that got stolen. But the sadly departed Charles Rocket just is a treasure as the dad. But if outside the Three Witches and after them, I've already given him a shout out, so I'll just give it again to Doug Jones. I mean, he is so good. We've already talked about how he is a master of storytelling with just his body. There's a reason. I mean, he's Doug freaking Jones. Give that man an Oscar and an Emmy already.
The right people never get them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
And I have it on good authority, I think, from their roommate, that he gives the world's best hugs.
Oh, he does.
Nice.
Like literally all arms around you kind of hugs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if she
All
wasn't like
arms?
dying in
How
bed,
many-
I'd go ask her to come on.
How many arms does Doug Jones have?
Don't ask that
All of
question.
them.
Don't ask that
Depends
question,
on
Joe.
what movie he's made.
Are they retractable?
Yeah.
Don't ask that question, Joe.
Maybe I don't want to know.
Not Pan's Labyrinth. I can't do that.
It's not quite after 10 yet. So
Oh, see, I like Cochise from Falling
go ahead.
Skies.
Mm.
So Denise, outside of the Three Witches.
Thora Birch. I loved her so much in the movie. She was just a perfect little sister. Like that right amount of annoying, and yet, hey man, you need to do the thing because you lit the black flame candle. This is your fault and you're gonna fix it, and I'm gonna force you to fix it. And also Kat. I love Thora Birch, and I hate the treatment that she got in the Dungeons and Dragons movie, because she's such a great actress, and she was underutilized in the D&D movie, but like all of it came out to play when she was a kid, and she was just so fun. And it's one of the best performances of being.
You need to read that introduction then.
Right? I do. I need to get this book,
great.
but
It's on Amazon.
Is it? Oh, okay. I'll pick it up. But yeah, she's my favorite. She really is.
She wanted to climb that water wheel, she says.
I mean, who wouldn't?
At the
right?
Sanderson house.
Who wouldn't? I wanted to climb the water wheel, and I wasn't even in the movie. Just saying.
So what about
and Sherman? Anything like Fingerprints? If you're talking about the Animaniacs gag, yes, it's exactly like that gag.
Look. Y'all don't realize how much cartoons were actually made for adults, and they just marketed it to kids. Okay.
Oh, we knew. We were we were way above this level at the time. We were like, oh yes, I understand completely.
I get that reference.
Yeah, and the things that they can get away with in animation, they can just as well get away with in kids' movies. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot in this movie that gets by.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's run it down.
There's nothing like that experience of going back to watch something you loved as a kid as an adult and going, oh, I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't. Oh.
Right, so let's run them down. Let's run them down. Gary.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Okay. Alex.
What are we doing?
We're running down the adult themes in the Hocus Pocus movie.
Oh,
the adult references.
Gosh, I think we've hit most of them.
Okay, maybe we have.
We missed the cop, the guy who was pretending to be a cop.
I
mean, that's the thing that happens at Halloween and at cons all the time too, where somebody's dressed as law enforcement, whether it's fake or intentional, and the kids are really trying to get an authority, and all he's like is, "Are you really a virgin?" Like he kind of like trying to have that talk with him or something. And then the woman, his woman friend comes out, and she's very scantily clad, getting on the back of the motorcycle. So
Oh, wait, the bullies. When the bullies, just before they get captured from the witches, they were talking about going and, looking in windows, watching girls undress.
Yeah.
And then, why are all the ugly chicks out so late?
Chick?
Yep.
Rude.
I know. It's
They
terrible.
really
Did you
could've
hear
gotten
what
them.
he called you, sisters?
Mhm.
And yet, because they called her ugly, but it's Danny calling her ugly that gets on her nerves.
I mean, go
Mhm.
figure, right?
I know.
So, can we talk about how this movie has somehow achieved cult status?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah,
do
because
that.
it did not do well when it came out.
No,
It
it
was
It was
bombed.
just
Wow.
it came and went, and
Yeah.
somehow
And the critics were vicious.
Oh, they
I
were
know.
awful. Siskel and Ebert were savage.
Mhm.
I
They
don't
were
remember.
savage.
I mean, I like as we mentioned before. I wasn't even aware of it when it first came out. Of course,
Neither
now
was
you
I.
can go online and find the awful reviews from Siskel and Ebert, but
Mhm.
it just it didn't land at the time, and
Well-
like any good cult classic or cult favorite, it just spirals out of control the longer it gets away from. And who knew that just some movie that started coming on in the afternoon in October on ABC Family, of all places,
Mhm.
would
Disney
get
Channel.
this kind of reaction. There's merchandise for this movie. I think maybe last year is when it started going big. There's merchandise for this movie like Denise has.
I have a
And,
sign in my
and,
house.
and right there, yeah. It's everywhere now, even though
Mhm.
there's
Now.
been no new content for this
Yeah, right.
movie.
The
I have that
Actually,
pop figure.
that's not true.
I have
Okay.
a
Here we go.
About 3 years ago, they came out with a hardcover YA book
Mm.
that actually is the Hocus Pocus and Hocus Pocus is 2, the sequel's story.
Poppy.
Yep.
Huh.
And they've announced that fall of 2022, Hocus Pocus 2 the movie will be out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yes,
they
and the
just started filming like last month, the 18th of October.
No, they just started filming like last week. I know a guy who knows a guy who's editing the movie.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Not that
That's
I'm going to
cool.
ask him. Not that I'm going to ask him details because obviously he can't say anything.
Right.
But I know a guy who actually is friends with a guy who is editing the movie.
Yeah.
Well, and I
That's
hear our
sweet.
friend Doug Jones is coming back for the
Well,
sequel.
of course.
So are the three. So are
Dora, too.
Catherine
It's for the
Bennett
Sanderson
and Sarah.
sisters.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't.
you can't really do it without all three of them.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could try. It's not like they haven't tried to do something like that before.
Oh, exactly.
It's just,
I
it's,
know Michaels has been a great source of supplies in the last 2 years about especially this, and then Spirit of Halloween
Spirit
had
of
a
Halloween.
whole Hocus Pocus decor section. this
so
year.
much. And I wasn't even seeing Hocus Pocus stuff like this even last year. Like, for whatever reason, Hocus Pocus this year has just exploded. And I don't know if it's because the second movie is coming out, or
know.
like with The Nightmare Before Christmas, we had Hot Topic. You know,
Yeah.
Hot Topic
Right.
really spurred The Nightmare Before Christmas to being the cult movie that it is now.
Mhm.
Because even that one didn't land as well as they were hoping that it would.
Right,
Disney
yeah.
Right.
released it. But
Well-
Hot Topic took the brunt of the work and pushed it forward. But they haven't done that. I don't know if Hot Topic is popular anymore, but they really haven't
With the
done
kids
that.
nowadays.
I guess. I don't know. I'm an old lady, whatever.
I
Um,
really think Spirit of Halloween is
Yeah,
a
I
lot
think
of it. Spirit of
Spirit-
Halloween, Books A Million and Barnes and Noble
and
have
Second
a
and
lot.
Charles.
Funko has been doing stuff.
Mhm.
So of course, Funko, once it starts like bringing back your childhood, other things start showing up.
It's true.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Second and Charles too. They've really
Yes.
taken it on. And I've noticed Beetlejuice is coming back. I haven't seen
Yes.
Beetlejuice in ever.
I also
Yeah.
think it's because people our age are now like that
The
main
consumers.
target, demographic
target
for home
demographic.
design and
And
home interior decorating.
People our age are making the stuff.
Right.
It's
They're
true.
in charge of creative for all this stuff now.
Because there's
And-
so much geek out there these days. that
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just like, I'm living my best life in my
I know,
my
right?
room, my room shows it.
Love it.
And like I said, there's a lot of people who love Halloween but don't like horror. They just like the little bit of the spooky. So
That's
this
me.
is that. Yeah. So this is at that perfect level. There's not a lot of stuff. There's a lot of most everything for Halloween is the hardcore horror. You got your Jason, your Freddy, your blood, and so there's not a lot of stuff that is family friendly horror. If there's a way if that's even a thing.
There's a chapter about that in the book.
Yeah.
As long as Bela Lugosi is dead, there will always be.
Yeah. So I mean, this is
why we love Sherman.
What the heck?
But there's Beetlejuice, there's the witches, the original The Witches. Stuff that's scary but not too scary.
Yeah,
it's diet horror.
Yeah,
but
another thing, the Halloween of
just one
childhood.
calorie of evil.
Yeah. But another thing that could also be responsible is Disney having their Halloween nights down at Disney World and Disneyland.
That was so awesome. I saw that.
And they've got a Sanderson Sisters show as part of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I love that, and I know some friends of ours have gone and go every year, and we should. We all should. Everybody stop what we're doing. In 11 months, we're all going.
That's it.
They're not doing it anymore. Blame Bob Chapek.
Having everything out on the streaming services has brought it, things aren't in the vault in Disney anymore. A lot of things are out. And so if maybe you didn't have them on VHS or DVD, you now have access to it and you could watch it whenever you want. I mean, I was scrolling through and saw that they had like the Home Alone trilogy and they had the Santa Claus, right? And you could watch those whenever. You don't have to wait for, the Christmas season or whatever. And so you can watch some of these things whenever you want, as opposed to maybe this stuff was packed up with the Halloween, decorations or whatever.
Box.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. My mother had a Halloween box and in it was a lot of the box. Right, the Halloween themed movies and stuff, because that way they didn't take up space with the other things if you'd only watch them once a year. So I think now it's more reasonable to be able to watch something whenever you want, and now it's in that public consciousness, or hey, I've always wanted to watch this. Okay, we can, because we have access to it.
Yeah, and talking of that, one of the best Halloweens I ever spent was a couple of years ago when I was up in Anniston. It was a couple of years ago. And a buddy of mine, they had said, I've never seen Hocus Pocus. And I was like, oh my God. What? I was like, no, Hocus Pocus, what? So I forced them to come to the house, and Halloween in front of the TV, you're watching Hocus Pocus. This is a travesty that you have never seen Hocus Pocus. And I had bought it on Apple TV because I don't own it on VHS anymore. We've moved so many times. I'm still surprised that I have most of my original Disney VHS collection. It's a miracle all of it has survived. But Toni, you're right, because we have it now. We literally have our childhood with us. And for me, it's great because Hocus Pocus reminds me, or is to me, what Halloween kind of should be, fun.
That's it.
Spooky.
That's it.
It's fun. And it's enjoyable. And, I'm one of those people, and helicopter parenting has ruined Halloween. Thanks.
Yes.
And, it's not fun anymore because I can't go around slightly scaring the crap out of little kids when they come to my house for trick or treat. But I can watch Hocus Pocus and I can relive that feeling that I've always wanted to pass on, because it's fun to spook little kids. I mean, come on.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
And it's Halloween, right?
Halloween is the best for that. I have a niece who I spooked when she was a small child while wearing a gorilla suit. And she has not forgiven me to this day.
Right.
Nor should she.
Nor will she. I just saw her a few days ago, and she is still mad. She's 13. Or, I don't know. I'm not sure how old.
Joe, your eulogy will include her going, and that son of a...
son of a gorilla.
To be fair, Gary, your eulogy will include me going, and this guy with the
Can you believe?
This guy, I still haven't forgiven you for that.
It's gonna happen.
Speaking of children, though, Bette Midler gets to say the absolute best line. I took some notes last night because I didn't want to forget. She said,
"Oh yeah, please."
I've always wanted a child, and now I'll have one on toast.
On toast.
On toast.
Perfect.
And all I was thinking about is avocado child toast or something like that. That's what like came into my head, and I was like, "What a joy it is to watch this movie again now!" Like Denise's friend who got to watch it like in adulthood, like the things that you get when you don't watch it as, you know, a child, or when you rewatch something as an adult. I hadn't seen Hocus Pocus in maybe a year or two. And so to rewatch it again for this, it was just some things, you grab something new every time. Like I've heard that line a million times, and it just hit differently this time because I have nieces and nephews who are trick-or-treating now and things like that. And thinking about a little kid on toast, like, just killed me. Completely.
It's the millennial witch child toast. It's
Yeah.
great. Avocado child toast.
And part of it is also the Wizard of Oz effect. The Wizard of Oz did not do well until CBS started playing it every year as a tradition. And then it became a cultural Wizard of Oz. It became a big thing. And then over Freeform having, and it, you know, Disney Family having, it's like, we got 30 days of programming. What are we going to plug in here? We can't show, you know, the apple dumpling.
You can't show the silly symphonies the entire time.
Right. So it was like, it got put in there, and just, it gave people a chance to view it either again and go, oh, now I get it. Or, hey, I didn't see this when it came out. And
that movie, I think, still holds some of that amorphous Disney magic. You know, there was magic in these little movies. And I know when I watched this, it had been the first time in like 15 years I had seen this movie. And I watched it with a friend of mine, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I remember why I love this movie so much.
Well, the thing about the movie is it's the thing that works about it for me. It's the perfect childhood fantasy of Halloween.
Yes,
it is the perfect. Yes. It is, because you have the setting, which is Salem, which looks like Halloween. You have this epic trick-or-treating, and then you have the safe danger of the Sanderson sisters, because you know everything's going to be all right because it's a Disney movie. Everything's going to be right by sunset, but you still get to have the thrilling Halloween-esque scary adventure. So it is the perfect essence of how we want Halloween to be, how we felt it was when we were children, and we can have that back for a little bit as adults when we watch this movie.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
You know, I kept pushing it back, but what we didn't talk about, I guess we've touched on it, the performances of the three witches.
Yes.
We've talked about everything else, but of course, Bette Midler is tremendous.
Bette Midler is a goddess.
Yeah.
And Bette says that's her finest hours. That's her favorite performance, and she says it's her best.
She's not wrong. Go ahead.
She's when they're like trying to recreate the potion, and she's trying to remember, and she's going, you know, you were there and you were there and you were in the back, you know, dancing idiotically, like, you know, she's trying to recall everything, and then she's like, in a dead man's nose, and then you have her sister, who's normally the one who's not paying attention, says toes, and you know, Kathy and Jimmy's go, no, she's got to concentrate. Where for once, if she had listened to her sister, you know, she would have had the potion correctly. And it's this, you know, they're all working together, and you can tell Winifred, you know, doesn't want to share things with her sisters, but she does. You know, everybody has their own thing, and it's just so wonderful how they play off of each other.
Well, the actors all had input on their characters.
That's
Bette
good.
had input. Sarah Jessica had input. Kathy had input. Even in their costuming, they all had input in their costuming.
It's this crazy,
even the way they rode their broomsticks.
That's cool. Just the three actresses, the three actors. Nobody thought that they were not an established comedy trio.
No.
They had never been in anything together before or since, but it's like lightning in a bottle, this movie, their performances. And I can't think of anything else I'd rather watch. Like I said, now Kathy and Jimmy and Sarah Jessica Parker are good, and Bette Midler are good in lots of things, but they're all great together in this. Really,
you could say they're magic.
Yes, you could say that, but I'm not gonna. But what
Witchcraft.
really what that they should have done 5 more Hocus Pocus movies. But then we'd be like, oh boy, they really started going downhill at Hocus Pocus 3. So I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
But
Hocus
hopefully Hocus Pocus 2 will be all right. But even if it's not, we still have Hocus Pocus 1 that we can keep going back to.
I mean, as long as
Hocus
they don't
Pocus 2, The Search for More Money.
right.
May the
As long as
be
they
with
don't
you.
go
They got
and try
mine.
to-
They got mine
Yeah.
already. Go ahead, Denise.
Yeah, if they don't try to go back and try to recreate Hocus Pocus 1, if they turn Hocus Pocus 2 into something else, I think they can recapture that lightning in a bottle, because it was my favorite is to watch this movie and watch Sarah Jessica Parker's, because she's just silly. That's all she is. She's a silly little blonde, but she's fun. Like it's as if a child was in the room with you. She's just having fun. She doesn't care. Bette Midler she is something else. And the way that she interacts with her 2 sisters, but like when she calls to the book, like boo,
Yes.
and she taps, and it's so fun to just watch her performance and her body language and everything, everything in between, and how the makeup works with her character. And then Kathy Najimy, where she just, like I said, my whole thing when it sealed the deal with me, when she's looking around, she says, "We're young." And I'm just like, oh my God, yes. And how she's like a bulldog. She goes around and she sniffs. And it's the 3 of them together are perfect with each other. Again, just with Hocus Pocus 2, I don't want them to recreate 1. I want Hocus Pocus 2 to be its own thing, to be special, not to be
just give me more.
Yeah, not to be
the
a
good
sequel.
parts. Yeah.
I don't want the sequel. I want Hocus Pocus 2. I want a movie with my favorite witch sisters, so I can see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So let's go around the horn, and I love digging deep into movies like this. Everybody, tell the interwebs and our quarantine panel victims where you can be found. Allie.
Okay. I mainly am on Twitter at Ali Sky Richards, ALISKYRICHARDS. I'm also one of the 3-man crew on the podcast Superman and Lois Tapes. And if you happen to be interested in the Hawkeye series that's coming out, I will be having a podcast called So You Want to Be a Hawkeye starting next week.
Nice.
Over on the Geekcast Network.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Toni Ann.
So I could be found on Twitter and probably Instagram at Jersey_Devil86. And I could also be found blogging about all the Star Treks ever at thegeekydevil.com. And I am almost done with the first season of Enterprise. And I haven't started singing to Joe just yet, but we're getting there. We're getting
the heart.
there. Yes, it's been a long road, and I'm getting there. But there's lots of cat pictures and dog pictures and my ramblings about life.
Denise.
Me? Oh goodness. So if you look closely at a lot of your favorite podcasts and Twitch people, you can find my art there. Because I am a freelance artist, but my Instagram at layman's terms is currently on hiatus as I am reworking everything again, and I will probably be moving off the platform to an actual website. Yay! But you can find me on Facebook if you spell my last name right, which the H comes before the A and there is an O in my last name. And I do freelance art. I can be found on a lot of your favorite podcasts, including Women at Warp. One of my logos is coming up. I'm very excited for it.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. I'm really excited for it. So yeah. And, I'm artist for hire, sort of, kind of.
And Elizabeth.
Hello. Okay. I am developing a presence. I know nobody be scared. You can find me on Facebook, Elizabeth Jones. I'm friends with Joe, if that helps. I think you can find me through him. Just be warned, there is a lot of swearing because occasionally I get mad and that happens. You can also find me. I set up a Twitter, so the world is ending. The Ghost of Internet Past at Twitter.
That's
nice.
Me. Because I am a fandom and internet old. So thank
Charles
you.
Dickens. Charles Dickens is so happy right now.
I love him. He can be happy all he wants.
And Gary.
My favorite writer.
You can find me at the Dragon Con American Sci-Fi Classics Track and every other Thursday here with this guy right there doing this. You can also this weekend spot me at Conjuration, which is a convention run by our good friend Darren Bush, who's in the comments, talking about all things mystic related. There might be something about a boy wizard with a scar. Sabrina, my lovely Jessa, will be talking about Sabrina multiple times. I'll actually
Which
be talking
Sabrina?
About all three.
Yeah?
The Teenage Witch.
The Teenage Witch, that's my favorite one. That's why I asked.
I like Melissa Joan Hart. She was fun.
We just finished watching the Netflix series like yesterday to catch up before. But I will be also talking about House of the Dragon, which is coming soon.
Cool.
But yeah, and you can find me on the Twitter right here. And so if you're in Atlanta this coming weekend, come find me. Say hi. Demand your Air Supply records back.
Yes, and if Gary doesn't give you your Air Supply records back, ask me. I will also be performing live this weekend in Rome, Georgia at CusaCon. I'm hosting Q&As with the cast members from The Walking Dead. And also I'm hosting a cosplay competition, which I'm super pumped about. And then immediately after the cosplay competition is over, I'm hopping in my car and driving like a maniac to announce pro wrestling. It's going to be the biggest, nerdiest day ever.
Awesome.
So,
what is it
follow
that they
me.
say, Gojo?
Please follow me for the awesomest, nerdiest things. Follow me and Gary. Follow all 6 of us, because thank you guys all for coming and hanging out with us. We will see you in 2 weeks when it's the celebration of Mr. Gary Mitchell's birthday.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, good sir.
Thank you. It's
the
day after my birthday, and we're doing an AMA.
Yes. So I'm going to put that up there, and you can secretly ask Gary questions, and I will force him to answer them live and in public. And we will also, with Gary's rival in Garyhood, Mr. Gary Lindros,
the other Gary,
we will also be having another competition to determine the ultimate Gary.
2 years running. We're prepare for 2 years running. That's all I'm saying.
Mitchel
Come on, Lindros.
is the ultimate Gary, and Gary Lindros is other Gary.
2 Garys enter, 1 Gary leaves.
So we'll see what happens in about 2 weeks. So join us then when Gary will say,
I prefer more of a topical ointment.
And thank you.
I put a spell on you.
Oh, yes.
I put a spell on you. And it was strong as the strongest, the strongest, the strongest. Your wretched little lies have
all the witches working. I'm the worst.
I put a spell on you.
And now you're mine.
And
I think I'm going to hit the button, but I'm not. Keep going.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Watch
If you
out!
don't believe, you better get superstitious.
Superstitious?
Ask my sisters.
She's vicious.
I put a spell on you, and now you're mine.
Excellent. Guys, thank you very much. We will see you all very soon.
Bye, everyone.